everybody, this is Diane. Hello and welcome to a supersized edition of Biters.
And this is Marnell. And, you know, usually a little bit of me goes a long way.
Oh, no, you're extra.
But I'm also a kicker, so...
Poor Phil. He found out you were a kicker. And we're not talking about a football player.
No, the joke is I am only 5 foot on a good day, like in the morning when your spine's not compressed. And so I get a lot of the short girl jokes. And so Phil posted something of a gif of someone holding something out of reach and a chick jumping up. And I'm like, not advised. I'm a kicker. There was a really good way to get you down to my height.
You're so bad. I love it.
Well, you've gone from basic to bougie, so...
I have. I am terrible, and I will share with the Biters folks because, well, I'm not going to share everything with the Biters folks, but I have turned into this, like, totally sensual creature who wants all the booze, all the makeup, all the clothes. I want it all.
I'm such a good influence. It all started at Sephora a couple of years ago.
Oh my God, is that what happened?
I'm pretty sure I put you under the Sephora spell, and
you did.
This is what happened.
In fact, I'm going to admit this. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I just bought a Too Faced palette for $60.
Yeah, but your face serum's like $75.
Well, I didn't buy that face serum again. I bought like just a face cream by the same company, but I don't think I'm going to buy the face cream again. I think I'm going to buy the face serum again.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, so this is Biters makeup tips. Thank you very much.
Skincare.
I ended up buying this thing called a skin gym that a friend of mine recommended to me, which is like, it's rose quartz, and you massage your face upwards with this rose quartz crystal, and it's supposed to be like super good for your skin, right?
Yep.
I don't know. We'll see. But here we are.
You know, there's a reason why they sell like crazy, and they come in like rose quartz and jade and amethyst, like they're all different kinds for different things. And it's not like the jade egg that Gwyneth Paltrow sells.
Exactly. It's for your face.
For your face.
It's for your face.
And it's a roller, so I'm sure it is helping you to produce more collagen.
Sure. Okay.
Oh. Yeah. Here we are.
Here we are. That's my new thing. So one of the Facebook pages that I'm on, which I think you're part of too, people have been sharing like what they say in place of, you know, you only live once or as an expression like that.
One-liners, basically, yeah.
Right. And mine is here we are. And
so,
go ahead.
This isn't mine, but I shared it because I think it's funny. She was an open book. He was illiterate.
All right, so I'm going to share one that totally is inappropriate, and it's kind of inappropriate for Biters, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sure, I'll have sex with him once. It'll be good revenge. And here we are.
Don't ever let anyone treat you like free salsa. You're guacamole, baby.
That's right, you got to pay for that chip and dip. Oh my God, we're awful. Okay, we've had our makeup tips, we've had our sex corner, and now let's talk about the stand.
Is that the one we're doing first? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the one we're doing first. I think the one that people want to hear more is Walking Dead, so we'll save that for last so that we hook people in.
So that you're really intoxicated.
All the makeup, all the wine, all the clothes. That's all I can say.
Oh, Oh, that's so funny.
Okay, I think I went first last night, so I think it's at least with The Stand, it's your turn to go first, and then maybe I'll go first with Walking Dead.
Or we'll forget and yeah.
I'm drinking more than you, so we'll see.
So I didn't rate this one very high because it was so different from the original.
Oh, okay. I think we're gonna have
And
a lot to talk about.
I think there was a lot of stuff that was like changed that was unnecessarily changed. And there was good parts too. But I rated it a 3.5 good doggies.
Oh my god, we gave it the same numerical rating. Not exactly the same system,
Rating
but
system.
the same numerical rating. So I rated it 3.5 out of 5. Surprisingly sympathetic Lloyd Heinrids.
So I have to tell you the story behind the good doggy. So, of course, the first thing we see is Stu not overdosing on pills because he's kind of got to be there for Kojak, you know? And I'm like, dogs are totally a reason to live.
Completely.
My dog tonight, Dexter, got into very, very big trouble.
Oh no, what did he chew up?
It's not that he chewed anything. It's that he ate an entire pot roast. Yeah.
Oh god, I'm so sorry. That's so funny.
He has never counter surfed before.
Oh
and
my goodness.
I was sitting in the next room. He was so stealthy, I didn't hear any of it. And so
I am toasting Dexter right now. He comes from a long line of counter surfers. Taz was so good, Taz could get a whole pizza off of the counter without anybody knowing it. So, cheers to you, Dexter.
Yep. So, he ate like a king tonight, and he's not even sorry for it.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Oh, he's gonna have terrible diarrhea.
I know. I'm so thankful I have double doggy doors, and he can come and go at will. So, I'm sure the Ring camera is gonna pick him up at like 3 a.m., like bolting out the door.
Oh my god, that is awesome.
Oh, maybe I'll post it.
Alaskan Wildlife for Steve.
Yes, Steve. It doesn't get more wild than eating entire freaking pot roast. That was $20.
Oh my god. So what'd you have for dinner?
Carrots and potatoes.
You're like, DoorDash!
I was like, well, I guess tonight's vegetarian.
Oh my god, that is so funny. I don't even know how we got... Oh, Good Dogs. That's how we got there,
so, yeah, my rating was good doggies.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I don't have much in the way of numbers. We've said this repeatedly about The Stand. I do have the rating from IMDb, which was 6.4 out of 10, which is fairly consistent with where we were. I mean, if we were 3.5 out of 5, that was 7 out of 10. So...
Did you see what the next episode is rated?
No, is it low or is it high?
It's like a 5.1
as
of right now.
Really?
So, yeah, I will be interested to see it because to hear that they kind of changed the ending, you know.
Well, did they change the ending or did they just add to the ending? And I'm going to talk more about my thoughts because I have strong thoughts. So we'll get more into that.
Yeah, my bold prediction didn't come true.
Oh, you're going to have to remind me of your bold prediction.
Nadine giving birth and Franny raising her child. And
oh,
Nadine's
right.
Yeah, so she's raising her child in the Antichrist, kind of. But yeah, that didn't happen.
Well, I'm super interested to see what happens next week because it's written by Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically like supposed to be a totally new ending.
Well, and I mean, this episode Flag kind of died, didn't he? Like,
Yeah,
we
but
had the big
Flag.
showdown.
I mean, Flag died in the book too, but
Well, yeah, but
they're
I mean, like,
with the
you know,
95 or the reboot. I think the 98 reboot of the book. Because there was the release of the extended version of the book. There was an ending that kind of added on some stuff about Flag. So it'll be
okay.
very interesting to see if that is part of next week or if it's something totally different. I think it's going to be part of next week, which we'll talk about more next week.
Yeah.
But I have some thoughts about where they didn't go and whether or not they're going to go there next week. So we'll talk more.
Okay.
So the title, it was called The Stand.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this is their final stand against Randall Flagg, right?
Right.
And Mother Abigail said in the last episode that they needed to go west and make their stand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I mean, I don't really think it's any more obvious than that.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty darned obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I kind of went to.
Yeah. So our writers were Taylor Elmore and Benjamin Cavell. We've talked about Benjamin Cavell. Taylor Elmore is responsible for this. He or she, I didn't look to see whether Taylor was a man or a woman, has also written for Justified, Cold Case, and has a one-off with Star Trek Enterprise. I'm going to be honest and say that I kind of did not do a deep dive because we're covering so much tonight.
Right.
Our director was Vincenzo Natali, who we talked about last week, so I did not go further into our director. So unfortunately for you, that takes us right to our featured cast member.
And you know, it was so funny when you texted me and was like, have we done Greg Kinnear? I was actually just looking back in our text because I'm like, okay, I feel like we've done Greg Kinnear, but no, we have not featured him as a cast member. We've just talked a ton about him because we like him so much.
Oh my God. So I like him so much, and I like him so much in this role.
Yes.
He's just... I will say it again. I think I said it last week, maybe the week before, maybe throughout the entire podcast we've done about The Stand. I think that Larry and Glenn, Greg Kinnear, are the best castings in the whole series.
Agreed. They were the best choice, and I feel like, you know, because they cast, you know, Larry is a black guy, and Greg Kinnear is much younger than the original Glenn. So I love the update.
They're both just fantastic. They were the best castings.
Yeah. So Greg Kinnear, he has a couple of credits before this, but he really got his kind of start on a show called Talk Soup.
Yes. And I kind of vaguely remember seeing him on Talk Soup. And wasn't the whole point of it that he like summarized the different talk shows from the day?
Basically. So Chris Hardwick used to do Talk Soup.
Oh my God, how funny is that, the crossover between Walking Dead and The Stand?
Right. There was another there's been a ton of hosts that Aisha Tyler I think she's actually the current host. And then there's another comedian that I cannot think of his name that I absolutely love. Who is so?
Was it Craig Ferguson?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, okay, Craig Ferguson. There was also another guy, but yeah. So a ton of people have gotten their start on Talk Soup, and that kind of led him to hosting later with Greg Kinnear.
Right.
And I I remember him, and mind you, in 1991, I was 11, but
Damn, I feel old.
I watched an inordinate amount of television as a child. Like, I still do, but, like, I got my start early. And so I actually vividly remember him being a talk show host. That's, like, where I knew him from. And he's got tons and tons of hosting credits. But he's made his way in the acting world too. So I think you and I probably know him best from Sabrina.
Yes, I loved him in that movie. I need to go back and watch that movie again, but I probably don't need any romance right now. I probably just need, like, really unhappy, angry stuff and not romance.
You know, I think probably the only I didn't like Julia Ormond back in the day. I have a better appreciation for her now.
You know, I loved her in Legends of the Fall, so I loved her in Sabrina too. And how funny, here's another Walking Dead crossover, right?
Exactly. So she was in the one with Richard Gere. She played Guinevere.
Oh yeah. Wasn't it Lancelot?
Something.
Oh, First Night. Yep, yeah. You're right.
And so she kind of lost me there. So I wasn't a huge Sabrina fan, but I love Harrison Ford and Greg Kinnear, so I tolerated. Plus, I'm not a
God. I'm gonna have to watch it again.
I'm not a big chick flick person, as you guys
know. I'm trying not to be a chick flick person.
So
I'm totally being a sensual creature, but I'm trying not to be a chick flick person.
There are very few. I'm not like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I'm Steel Magnolia, you know? But so there was one really surprising credit that I saw, and this made me love him even more. He did voice work, uncredited voice work, for Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I did not see that.
He was ATF agent Bork. And so there's a great story about that, and of course Matt Stone and Trey Parker don't do Beavis and Butthead, but it's kind of the same
same sense of humor. Yeah.
Where Seinfeld called up, Seinfeld's agent called Matt Stone and Trey Parker, and
which, by the way, Sabrina is on Prime Video, just so you know.
The agent was like, so Seinfeld would basically like to grace you with his presence and do voice work for, you know, your little cartoon. And so Matt Stone and Trey Parker talked it over, and they were like, okay, he could be turkey number 4 in
That's
like
awesome.
Our Thanksgiving episode. And of course that was not good enough for Seinfeld. However, it was good enough for George Clooney. George Clooney did not get the role of turkey number 4. He got the role of one of the boys' dogs, Sprocket or something, Sparky or Sprocket or something like that. So the bark for the dog in South Park is George Clooney.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So I this is why I absolutely love Greg Kinnear having done Beavis and Butthead Do America and having just this such minor role, is that it's you know, I mean, it's not taking yourself too seriously, and that's what we do here.
That's very true. Yes, we do. Well, I wanted to mention that Greg Kinnear played in You've Got Mail. He played Meg Ryan's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. He played Captain Amazing in Mystery Men, which is one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
He was in Nurse Betty, which I haven't seen in a really long time. And then he was also in Someone Like You with Ashley Judd and Hugh Jackman, which was very sweet, and another chick flick, definitely. But the thing that I came away with was I feel like Greg Kinnear's career should have been bigger.
You know, I do too. And he is one of those guys that I think has only gotten better as he's aged. Like, he is fine wine, you know?
He is fine wine. He is great in this series.
He's just smoky and robust and like, we need to wrap this up because I got something to do.
All right. He is robust.
So,
smoky.
Yeah, full body. So this one is not the last that we will see of Greg Kinnear.
I hope not. Does he have stuff in completion?
Yes. So he has, I think it's a movie called Crisis.
All right. I need to be better about paying attention because I really have loved seeing him again.
So this movie also stars Gary Oldman.
Oh.
Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Rodriguez, Lily Rose Depp. So 3 stories about the world of opioids collide. A drug trafficker arranges a multi-cartel fentanyl smuggling operation between Canada and the U.S. An architect recovering from an oxy addiction tracks down the truth behind her son's involvement with narcotics, and a university professor battles unexpected revelations about his research employer, a drug company with deep government influence, bringing the new non-addictive painkillers to market. So that sounds super interesting.
It does sound very interesting.
You know, we actually have a very forgotten pandemic in our current pandemic. We have seen a huge resurgence in our opioid abuse.
Well, because people are so lonely.
Yeah.
And isolated. Yeah. It's horrible.
Yep. So, yeah, because Department of Public Health, I deal with that. So, they've actually been extending a lot of the grants and giving more money for prevention and education and treatment for opioid abuse. We've actually started a program where our Office of Substance Abuse and Management, we're trying to reorganize them under our behavioral health instead of public health, because treatment involves psychological counseling. So we're treating things different. And we are also going to be starting a pilot program where you no longer call 911 for basically anyone who's having a mental or addiction-based problem. So, if somebody is like threatening suicide, you don't call 911, you call what I think it's going to be like 988 or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but
that's Colorado, cool. So we reduce the risk of people getting shot by the cops.
Right. And it takes the burden off the police. The police don't have to be behavioral health specialists or addiction specialists. So, you instead of calling 911, you will call this other number, and you will have a trained professional respond to whatever crisis it is. And so it takes a huge burden off of our first responders, and it lowers the risk of things getting out of hand due to misresponse. And Colorado actually piloted the program, and it has been so successful. And I think it was the governor or one of the senators of Colorado even said, he's like, I admit I was wrong. Like, I implemented this, and I fully expected it to fail. And he's like, it has been the most successful thing that, I've implemented in my career. And I fully admit that, I was wrong about it. So, yeah. Here's our opioid abuse corner. But so Crisis with Greg Kinnear. And then there is a TV movie in pre-production called Shining Vale. A dysfunctional family moves from the city to a cursed house in a small town. I will totally watch that.
That completely sounds like a Stephen King movie.
It is him and Courtney Cox. So I'm there.
I'm kind of hot and cold on Courtney Cox, but it's Greg Kinnear, so...
You know, she did a great series, I think, in the late 90s, early 2000s, called Dirt. And it was about the tabloid culture. It was just an amazing series. I loved it.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So, yeah, Greg Kinnear has no social media.
Really?
No Twitter, no Instagram,
That's
no
shocking.
Facebook, nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of feel more and more like he is more like his character Glenn than we ever thought.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, like a little bit of mystery.
Yeah, Mystery Man. Captain Amazing. Oh. All right. So do we want to do Whisperer's Corner now, or do we want to do it when we talk about Walking Dead?
Probably Walking Dead.
Okay. So let's head into our goods, bads, and uglies.
All right. So I'm going first, apparently.
I think you are.
So my good was the scene where Nadine kills herself, smashing her way through the window and not just falling to the ground or going splat like in the 94 version. She falls through a glass fountain to an empty pool. It was amazing. Like, it was so, like, I loved the effect. It was so well done. You know, we see her, like, take the swan dive and, like, all the glass around her and everything. And then it's just that quick through the fountain and down to the pool, you know, and it's just so shocking. And I fully admit that I was wrong. Like, I totally expected them to change this and allow her to give birth to the demon spawn. And nope, they stuck right with the 94 version. She threw herself out a window.
Okay, so I'm going to get into something that I had in my writing potpourri, but I'm going to say it now because it has to do with Nadine. So in the book, and I'm sure people are sick of me saying in the book, but...
Just like they're sick of me saying in the 94 version. Right? So, there's only one more episode, people.
Hang in there with us. Hang in there. So basically, in the book, she kind of is completely traumatized by her night with Flag.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of hauls her back to Vegas, and she never really recovers from it. And in a very short period of time, pitches herself out a window.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I'm glamorous and I'm oh my God, what's wrong with me? It's more like, right. I'm completely horrified. This was horrifying. I'm horrified. I'm pitching myself out a window. So she never gets to the point that she was at.
No.
In this series. And she kills herself very early on.
Yeah, so her belly swells up pretty quickly the same way, but she does not wait to go into labor.
Right.
And she is she is almost catatonic walking around. Yeah.
Yes, so, completely.
Same in the 94 version. And
so it sounds like the 94 version is kind of a hybrid of this and a hybrid of the book.
Yeah, I think probably with a little differences thrown in. So, great new drinking game. Anytime Dianne says...
in the book,
take a shot. Anytime I say in the 94 version, take a shot. And then join us for The Walking Dead later.
Yeah, you'll be as tuned as Dianne by the end of the episode, because it is what it is.
Here we are.
Here we are. I'll sleep with him one time, and that'll be great revenge.
All right.
My God.
What was your good?
My good was, overall, I felt like this episode was good. You know, I didn't feel like it was great, but I felt like it was pretty good. I wish it had played closer to the book, and I'm sure I will talk about that more, but I don't really have an overall, I don't really have a specific good, just overall I felt like this was a decent episode, which I did not feel that way last week, so I was glad to be able to say that.
You and I diverged last week, but we are definitely on the same page this week. This was a solid C+.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Not a fantastic episode, not like the early episodes for me, but a good episode.
There were some really good changes that they made, and then there were some that just kind of fell flat.
I agree. There were a couple of standout moments, and they're definitely in my writing potpourri.
Yep.
We may have the same bad.
I don't think we do.
We don't. Okay. Well, why don't you go ahead and go into your bad?
So I have said time and time before that the original Lloyd, Miguel Ferrer,
was a great actor and who's passed.
Yes, and he was an amazing Lloyd. Like he was the right-hand man. He was the go-to guy. He was take no crap. He was not this Lloyd. This Lloyd was pathetic.
Oh, so very interesting. I mean, so this Lloyd was definitely not the Lloyd from the book, but as I said in my rating system, surprisingly sympathetic.
So I did like the ending, the kind of close to his end when he told Larry, he's like, I really do like your music, man.
Right. And the fact that he tried to save Ray and Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the whole, he was just he wasn't the strong Lloyd that I loved in the original.
Definitely not. He was kind of a toadying suckbutt.
Yeah.
In the words of Wayne and Garth. In the great wisdom of Wayne and Garth.
So the arguing with the judge and just the Lloyd in the 94 version, it didn't shrink away from Flag like this Lloyd did. And I just, it kind of took me out a lot, and when Julie brought him up at the, I'm going to call it a rally.
Right, when she was like, and here's the right-hand man.
Yeah. And he's all flustered and everything because he's still all verklempt about having shot Glenn. And so, yeah, Lloyd, the Lloyd storyline in the entire show, and especially this episode, just completely fell flat for me.
I'm so conflicted about Lloyd because I don't have the mental image that you do from the other series. I will, eventually. Although Phil has completely destroyed it and said that I need to watch WandaVision now, so that's bad. Anyway, I do have the mental image from the book, and this Lloyd is very different from the Lloyd in the book. I still kind of like this Lloyd. He's not the Lloyd that I wanted, but he's kind of a cool Lloyd.
I think I probably would have been okay with him too, had I not seen the 94 version and already had the strong Lloyd in my head. Because I did kind of like him as this dirty little henchman,
Yes. Yes.
Who became flaccid at the mere thought
of Floyd or a Flag. Yeah.
A Flag.
Yeah.
And he did drugs and that I'm so surprised.
And Julie is kind of nasty. I mean, she's kind of not the Julie. I don't know if she's the Julie of the 94 version, but she's not the Julie of the book.
The Julie of the 94 version was way crazy. The stories men tell about their crazy ex.
I know all about men and their crazy ex-wives. I have a crazy ex-wife.
We started off in this series with ball gowns and shotguns, and the original Julie would have stayed right in that lane.
I have to say, I'm more in love with the ball gowns and the shotguns every day.
Yeah. I liked the Julie in this. I loved the original Julie, but I don't know. It's got to be the cotton candy pink hair and those sparkly tall boots.
So I have to tell you, I had porn star pink hair once upon a time, and if I could pull off any hair again, that's the hair I would do.
Oh,
because it was really fun. But
so
there's
fun.
no way I could get away with it now.
See, and like I'm just about to re-up my telework agreement because we have to do it every 6 months, and in a week or two it will be a year for me.
Did you see that our sister said that they are telework until September at least?
Yeah. And so I could pretty much do anything, and I'm like, I could get like dimple piercings, I could get an eyebrow piercing, I could dye my hair pink.
So I'm totally rocking the indigo under panel, but I can't get away with like doing the whole thing pink. I think that would be frowned upon. What was that?
It's the maintenance. Like unless you are already like blonde enough that
I am,
your hair will stay pink. And I'm not. I'm a natural brunette. You know, I have gone blonde before, and I do look very good as a blonde.
Oh my God, we're being terrible tonight.
My hair is just way too high maintenance, and to have to keep that up in the apocalypse, no thanks.
Okay, so part of the Real Housewives beauty corner again. I'm seriously thinking about getting eyelash extensions.
I would love them.
I'm seriously contemplating it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. So
it was one of those things where I was gonna do it, and then COVID happened, and now it's just like I don't want somebody breathing over my face for an hour.
Honestly, after rocking the false eyelashes for a couple of days, I'm thinking about it.
Man, like a nice set of long lashes just takes it up a notch.
We're so bad. All right,
if you haven't done it, try it.
What's your bad?
I already told you my bad. My bad was Lloyd.
Oh, your bad was Lloyd.
Your bad.
Sorry. I'm so distracted. My bad, once again, was Trash Can Man.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. What a waste of a storyline. What a waste of a character. I'm so profoundly disappointed. I'm actually more disappointed this week than I was last week.
Mm-hmm.
We learned virtually nothing about this really fascinating character, and like they didn't explain his radiation sickness very well, and they didn't explain like his whole really conflicted garbage with the airfield and like all of the messed up stuff that he pulled on the pilots of the airfield. They did nothing. They did nothing. And Ezra Miller looked weird. He looked like shrunken and foreshortened, and it just was bizarre.
So I don't think they explained it well in the first one, in the 94 version. Take a shot. But they definitely, they literally cut his storyline down to like
nothing.
Less than 5 minutes over 9 hours.
I think that's legit. I don't think we got much more of Trash Can Man than that.
No.
Which is super disappointing.
And he wasn't convincing. Like, nothing against Ezra. I'm sorry.
No, it was, like the whole BDSM, like weird underwear thing. I know I griped about that last week. It just was weird.
Yeah. The only thing, maybe it's, because I saw the 94 version, and they kept flashing on the Geiger counter, peeking out. I understood the whole radiation thing, and plus he had, I think, radiation, and in the original, he had towed this, nuclear warhead or whatever. I don't know how many miles on that ATV, so he was like totally sunburned and windburned also. So, yeah, Matt Frewer will always be my Trash Can Man.
Well, I'm looking forward to Matt Frewer being my Trash Can Man because Ezra Miller was definitely not. Yeah. And it's no, like, cruddy reflection on him because I know that he was in The Flash and that people really liked him, but I am profoundly disappointed.
He literally got 5 minutes over 9 hours. That's
And he
so
got goat
disappointing.
roped into a bizarre costume.
Yeah. And for as incoherent as Matt Frewer was in the original, like, I just felt like the way that this trash can man, like I said, pterodactyl with a kazoo stuck in its throat.
I don't think I remember you saying that. That's really funny.
I think I might have said velociraptor with kazoo stuck in their throat. The line delivery was just off, and like not just the delivery, but like the lines, the things that Trash Can Man usually said, the bum de bum,
Right,
boom de
right.
boom.
And I know I've said it before and I'm saying it wrong. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong because the way it's said in my head is probably different.
You.
But the whole Sibylla, my life for you, Sibylla, my life for you. I mean, they just didn't do it right.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
So that was almost my bad. So, yeah.
All right. Well, what was your ugly, and was it a good or a bad ugly?
Well, I don't know. I think it's bad. And I'm going to get just a tiny little bit political here. I'm sorry. But,
gird your loins, Thomas O'Mara.
So the reason why I described the angry mob as a rally earlier is because when they were chanting, make them pay, and they were chanting Flag's name over and over.
It was kind of like lock her up.
I was having January 6th flashbacks.
Ah, okay.
Just hang Mike Pence, just the angry mob chanting over and over, make them pay, burn them down. And then chanting Flag's name was, chanting our former president's name. And so, and Flag's speech talking about there's winners and losers and we're the winners. And I just I had a little bit of PTSD watching. And
I definitely think that, and I'm going to get slightly less political, but be somewhat political. I definitely think they manipulated that. I think that they intentionally did that.
And in the original, there was just as angry of a mob, and they were crucifying Larry and Ray. And so, I mean, it was kind of the same thing, but it was a completely different feel in the first one. And like I said, and they filmed this long before January 6th. So, I mean, I can't completely go there, but for me, it just, the reason why it's bad is because, it evoked those icky feelings of January 6th.
Well, if you follow Stephen King on Twitter, and I suspect you probably do, he's a pretty big lefty.
Oh, yeah.
So I really think that the whole comparison to our political situation as it was fairly recently was pretty intentional.
Yeah.
So I think that your feelings are accurate.
Yeah. So that was my ugly. I mean, I watched it twice, and both times I kind of had a little bit of anxiety. So
I was a good podcaster. I watched everything twice today, too. In spite of my hectic day.
You had to do something while you were putting all your makeup on.
I'm gorgeous. What can I say?
All right. So, gorgeous, what was your ugly?
My ugly was a bad ugly. And I don't know how this played out in the 94 version. But the way that Ray and Larry were killed in this episode, very different from the way it was handled in the book.
Yep.
So basically, they were torn apart in the book.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's even different from the 94 version.
It was pretty gruesome. And I mean, it It didn't entirely come to pass because the whole thing of, fire raining down and the nuclear weapon being there, but it was more than just the nuclear weapon being there. It was like fire from the universe that united with the weapon and created this conflagration.
Right.
So it was like more than just the nuke. It was God plus the nuke.
So I will have to warn you that the 1994 version gets a little cheesy around the hand of God.
Okay.
It's kind of like...
Is it like literally a hand?
Yeah.
God!
It's like a green sci-fi hand. Like, it's like a...
That's
it's
awful. Like something
not
from
even as
Clash
good as
of the
Sharknado.
Titans.
Yeah.
Well, so I was just bummed out that they totally reworked the story of Larry and Ray. And, like, first of all, Ray was a guy. Okay, I can deal with that. Irene Bedard was a perfectly serviceable Ray. She was fine. But the whole thing about them being in the pool and drowning in the pool and Lloyd storming in and being like, no, get me the key and let's set these people free. No, none of that happened. No.
Nope. Yep. Exactly.
So I was just bummed out. I thought the original ending was much more gruesome. I thought the intention was much more gruesome. Yeah. That's my bad. My bad ugly.
So I have to say that in the original version, and this is a piece of trivia off of IMDb. I don't know if in the book, apparently they were on crosses. They were hung on crosses. Is that right?
They were not.
Okay.
In the book.
So apparently that was the plan for the 94 version. And IMDb says for the crucifixion scene in Las Vegas, production designer Nelson Coates was asked to tone down the Christian imagery by ABC. Specifically, they had to, quote unquote, crucify the victims on horseshoes instead of crosses, even though
I remember you mentioning that.
Right, even though the word crucifixion itself comes from the Latin word meaning to fix a cross. So in the original version, they were crucified on these horseshoes that kind of look like something, that would be hung in Vegas anyway. And like the hand of God comes down and like scoops up the nuclear warhead and like makes it explode. And that's how they die, is just the one big fiery, but yeah, no pool, no attempt to rescue them, no lightning ball of God thunder energy. Apparently God's Odin now. Okay.
Which, can we just say as a little aside, so I didn't really dig Lloyd's death, but Rat Woman's death was pretty cool because she just kind of exploded.
Oh
yeah.
I was like, they really should, like, Julie's wasn't quite as good as Rat's, and now we're totally in rotting potpourri.
Well, yeah, so are we totally in rotting potpourri?
I think so.
Okay, right on.
So, yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh, like, Julie's death was not as satisfying as Rat's was, and I kind of wish it had been the reverse. But I also kind of wish that Julie, because she pushed that chick out of the way and was like, move, I kind of wish she was the one that got pushed up against the glass door and got pushed through the shattered door and then trampled. That would have been a great death for her. It just trampled to death by the mob. And so, yeah, I loved the, like, Rat basically popping like a blood balloon.
So, since we're on the topic of Rat and we're in rotting potpourri, anyway, I loved her as the labor and delivery nurse.
Oh, yeah, Nurse Ratched all the way.
And I loved that we got to see her in a more genuine, like, not crazy, like, big hair, big outfit sort of way when she was like in the hallway with Lloyd and she was like, "Are you crying?" And he was like, "No, I'm not crying." I loved that. I love that we got to see a couple of different aspects of her, because what we had seen of her up to that point, including during the trial, was so over the top.
Right.
And I mean, the nurse thing was really over the top, but it was different. And then she was not over the top at all when she was in the hallway with Lloyd. And she was like, I'm just the cruise director of this thing. Or I'm just the entertainment director for this cruise.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked this is another character arc that I actually liked better than the original. We talked a little bit about the character Rat in the original was a much smaller part.
And was a man, right?
Yeah, and it was a man.
Yeah.
And I think he got like 3 or 4 scenes in the entire 6 hours of the 4-part movie. So yeah, this was a much richer role, and I liked it. I have shades of Rocky Horror when I see her, and it's
I can see that.
Yeah, so like when she's the MC, she's like Frankenfurter, and then we saw her, as like the nurse this episode. So like for some reason, whenever I see her, like I flash on Rocky Horror.
I like it. That's a good mental image. Yes.
Yeah, I love Rocky Horror, so it works.
Okay, so I was so glad that they actually kept the Stu and Kojak storyline, because Kojak is actually a really important part of Stu's survival in the book.
I think that came across a lot more this movie than it did in the original, but you still kind of got that feeling in the original too.
So here's my, are we going to see this next week? So the point beyond where we ended today with this episode, there's still a lot of stuff that happens, and there's still a lot of stuff that happens with Tom and Stu. Mm-hmm. So does it get foreshortened, and do we not see it? Do we just kind of skip to this coda that features Franny, or do we have more of the story about Tom and Stu and the way that they make their way back to Boulder?
So I will tell you that in the 94 version,
take a drink.
They do kind of a montage of like Tom finding Stu and them finding the nearest small town. Well, Stu gets sick apparently with Captain Trips, and Tom kind of nurses him back to health.
Yes. I remember that, and that happened in the novel as well.
And it
in the book. Drink.
It happens over months and months, and when Stu is finally, his leg is healed and he's better, they actually make their way back like full on winter in Colorado, and so they wind up finding
snow machines,
a snowcat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I wonder if we'll just sort of see an abbreviated montage of the already probably abbreviated montage.
Disappointing.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't catch it the first or the second time I watched. It was pointed out to me by the other half. And I don't know if this is true in the book, and it was not conveyed in the 94 version, but as Flagg lost his grip on the crowd, when people started doubting him, he was losing power. So we see that moment in the courtroom when people kind of, Flagg's watching the courtroom and he's hovering, and people kind of start to turn on Flagg and his henchmen, and Flagg basically falls out of the air, and then of course, he loses the crowd at the end, and I don't think we saw very much of his powers there, but it's kind of like, he could have probably done something, like I don't know if he can like give you the literal death stare or whatever, but like he kind of had no power at the end, just enough to kind of save himself off from, about a dozen lightning strikes that it finally took to kill him. At least, we think he's dead. But that wasn't conveyed in the 94 version. Him losing the sway of the people did not, like, I didn't realize it diminished his power. And I liked that. I thought that was a cool thing. So was it in the book?
This goes back to, I feel really bad that I just recently finished the book and I don't have a great memory of it, but I don't remember it being like profoundly like that. Mm-hmm. What I will say is, and I'm disappointed in the way that they used Alexander Skarsgård, I don't feel like Flag was as threatening and as all-powerful as I thought he should have been.
Me too. Like, it's like his power was very spotty.
Yeah, I agree. Disappointing.
Yeah. And I wasn't, the original Flag wasn't as menacing. I feel that he was, he lost control of his emotions more often. Like he like in the one episode, he had actually like destroyed all of the furniture in his suite at one point out of anger. And we didn't see that in Flag this time. But he definitely wasn't the like omnipotent, omnipresent, bad guy that I would expect him to be. Like
Agreed.
I said, his power was very spotty. He had the power to I want to say astral project, because he could actually injure you in his wolf form.
Well, we kind of saw that when he like interacted with Nadine in the desert, but like manifested her back in Las Vegas fairly quickly.
Right. Yeah, and so I just, again, spotty power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I am going to say I don't remember the whole court with Ray, Larry, and Glenn, but it was really funny, and I found I found Lloyd to be very funny.
See, and I didn't find Lloyd funny. I found him pathetic in that scene, but again, that was also not in the 94 version, and I liked the addition of it this time. But yeah, I actually liked Rat better in that scene.
Did ya?
Yeah.
I actually liked the way Glenn, God, I keep doing that. Sorry. I have Glenn on the brain because of Walking Dead. I liked the way that Lloyd tried to talk Glenn out of getting himself shot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It wasn't a part of the book, but I liked the courtroom scene. It was funny. It was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun.
And I was actually a little shocked that Lloyd fired.
I kind of was too, but of course, Glenn's character doesn't meet the end like Larry and Ray did. So Glenn, I don't remember how Glenn died in the 94
basically
version.
In like, well, I don't know about the 94 version. Take a drink, because I'm about to say book, so take another drink too. In the book, he's basically in like an interrogation room and is killed off. And the other characters hear the gunshots.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of how it went down in the 94 version, only it was so fleeting that I barely remember it. But I loved the total overtone that Glenn had, and then later on in the episode we saw Larry have, where Glenn is like, if he can fly, why does he need all this? You people are terrified of him. Is that all he has on you? Fear? And then later on, Larry's like, this place is falling apart. She was his queen. It's almost over for them, And so I love that they started to understand that, like, okay, like, apparently his only power is your guys' fear of him. And if you guys just like stop fearing and worshiping him, he'll lose all his power, you know? And so I liked that sort of message that kind of came across.
Yeah.
Did Kojak fight off the wolf in the book?
I kind of vaguely remember that.
Okay. I don't remember that in the 94 version. And it was funny. I was watching TikTok the other day.
No, say it's not so.
And I somehow wound up on dog trainer TikTok, which apparently I need because my dog eats my dinner. But I wound up on the dog trainer side of TikTok, and there was somebody who was a professional protection dog trainer who was filming his dog's reaction to a quote unquote home invasion, but it was of course a staged one. And you know, he had to go back later in TikTok and was like, yeah, for everyone saying that their own dog would do this for them, I'm going to say 98% of the time you're wrong. Like, you love your dog loves you, but when, you know, brass tacks, your dog's going to run away. You know, like,
or steal your pot roast.
Right. There's a reason why protection dogs run upwards of $20,000. And so then we see Kojak fight off the wolf, and I'm like, yeah, maybe he's a 2%, but he's a golden retriever. Like, he'd win.
Golden retrievers are good boys.
They're good boys.
They're good doggos.
They're not fighters. They're lovers.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But I did love, and of course, you know, I'm sure this happens in the book because it happened in the 94 and then it happened now, that Kojak finds Tom.
I want to say that's accurate. It's been a hot minute since I've read the book. Literally a hot minute. But here we are.
And like, if there was ever to be a spin-off series, I want Tom and Kojak. Moon, that spells Kojak.
Okay, I think you got the tagline for the episode. So I'm going to dial us back to Glenn's death. So he says to Lloyd, "It's all right, Lloyd, you don't know any better." And that really brought up religious imagery for me, because Jesus on the cross says, "Father, forgive them, they know not what they do."
Oh, wow.
And that was totally what I thought. It's all right, Lloyd, you don't know any better.
Wow.
Dun, dun, dun.
And, you know, of course, that just totally played into Lloyd's already, shrinking
completely
persona.
Messed up. Yeah.
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 I also want to say that Nadine looks like a sugar skull when she goes to confront Larry. She does.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
And what's really funny is the mirror, which was the serving tray that he held up. I think it actually kind of made her look a little better because it you know,
because it blurred everything a little bit.
Yeah, it wasn't nearly as shocking as I think it should have been, you know. Bella Swan in the Twilight movie looked worse when she died, so.
Oh my gosh, I haven't watched that movie in a while. I've read the book fairly recently, but I haven't watched that particular version of the movie in a while.
You know, I mean, if you haven't seen it, like the effects that they use to make her like just gaunt and painfully thin, like the practical and CGI effects that they did were really good, and they could have totally done that with Nadine in this, and they really just kind of used a darker contour than they should have. Like, that was the extent of her gauntness, was like a little extra contour.
Oh my God, that's so funny. All right, I have a Nadine-related question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, in this version, which we have acknowledged is not true to the book, somewhat true to 94, did Flag know that she would not survive bearing the child? Because I truly believe that even had she borne the child, she would not have survived what the child would have. Or was he okay with that? I think he was okay with that.
It never even approached addressing that. Just because she was basically catatonic and Flag was busy doing his thing. And then she kind of snapped to it and went, peace out, and jumped, So he was very, very upset, but he got over it really quickly.
I think, he got over it kind of quickly in this too. And the whole, I'm sending her head to Larry on a platter. Nope, nope, nope. Didn't happen.
Yeah, but in the original, it's not like they scooped her up off the sidewalk and he mourned over her body. It was just like, oh, well, that sucks.
Right? Gosh, I'm going to have to impregnate someone again. Darn.
And she probably hasn't even been born yet because apparently he likes them super young.
So he can completely indoctrinate them from the early stages.
Right?
Ew.
I'm like, dude, if you can make a skeleton look like Jane Mansfield, you could seduce me.
All right, you're cheap.
I just want to be pretty.
You're what?
I just want to be pretty.
Oh my God, we're awful. Awful, awful, awful.
And, I'm totally willing to sell my soul to the devil like Heather Graham did.
She looks pretty amazing.
Yeah, too bad I really don't have much of a soul to barter with, so here we are. All right, that is all that I had for The Stand.
Okay, I'm not sure if I have anything else, but I swore that we were going to pull the plug at 10:15 and it's 9:22 and we still have The Walking Dead to cover. Yep. So let me look really quick and see if there's anything else that I desperately need to say about The Stand. No, I think I'm good.
So
I did notice one tiny thing. So the casino is called the Inferno, which explains the license plate that we were talking about a couple of episodes ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I haven't read it yet because, of course, I have not watched episode 9 yet. But Forbes has an article titled "The Stand is a cornucopia of Stephen King Easter eggs if you know where to look."
Oh.
So I'm kind of excited to read that because I love Easter eggs. We talked about a couple where, the antique store looked like Needful Things, and
okay, that's
town
totally
was
your
dairy.
assignment for the next episode.
Yeah. So seek that out and read it in preparation for the next episode,
which will be the final episode of The Stand.
Yep. And we will have a little bit of reprieve from doing triple duty on podcasting. So until then, just remember...
No.
Yes.
Yes. But we're not doing that, right? Because we're going right into Biter's The Walking Dead version.
Oh, are we not going to pause?
Oh, no, I'm not pausing. Oh, hell no. That means more editing.
All right. We'll do it live.
We're doing it live.
We'll fix it in post.
All right. Whatever. So, Biters, welcome to our coverage of Home Sweet Home, which is episode 17 of season 10 or episode 10C1, depending on how you're counting it.
So, we are podcasting on March 1st, and I will have you know that this season has been 1.5 years. And 1 year ago today, we watched the episode Stalker. Do you remember that episode?
Yes.
That was the
1 year
horror
ago
movie
today.
episode. Yeah. 1 year ago today.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Totally crazy.
This season started in October of 2019. We are now in March of 2021. It has been a year. Quite a year. More than a year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. All right, now that I've blown your mind,
You have blown my mind.
we should probably do ratings, and you're first.
Well, I'm kind of a broken record, but I also gave this a 3.5 out of 5. I know, I was...
like we planned this. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
3.5 men in iron masks out of 5.
God, like, it is just a night for C pluses.
I
Hopefully it gets better from
I
here.
was
just
bombed. I was bombed.
So I rated it a 3.5 exploding bad guys.
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty gruesome.
I honestly, I joked about we did not plan this. We did not confer with each other
No, we did
beforehand.
not. We did not.
I didn't even tell her that Dexter ate my pot roast.
And it's actually somewhat rare for us to be on the same page in terms of ratings.
It is. It
Yes.
is. We are normally at the opposite ends of the spectrum,
Yes.
and like no matter which way we go. Yeah.
So, I don't have any numbers for this episode really either because it's too early. But I do have the IMDb numbers, and it was 8.0 out of 10 on IMDb. So it actually was very highly rated on IMDb. I didn't think it was that good.
No, and like you said, if you did our rating as a 10, we would have both given it a 7.
Yeah.
So slightly below average.
I thought it was super hyped, and it didn't live up to the hype. And we'll talk in great detail, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Like your 10-15 deadline, not gonna happen.
Damn. That was just killing my vibe tonight.
Although our featured cast member is gonna make up some time, so
Okay, yeah, fair enough. But then Whisperer's Corner is going to kill some time, so not tons, but a little bit. Okay, so our title was Home Sweet Home, and I think it obviously has to do with Maggie coming home.
and one of the guys said at the end, when they got to Hilltop, he's like,
Alexandria. Yeah.
Alexander. He's like, so is this Home Sweet Home?
Right.
No, I think it was when they got to Hilltop.
No, it was Alexandria.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
Okay.
No, and I mentioned Hilltop as well in my discussion of the title because it was so sad that Maggie was like, yeah, I'm taking them back to Hilltop, and Daryl and Carol kind of look at each other and like, yeah, about Hilltop. There's a little bit of something you need to know about Hilltop.
yeah, so it was Cole that said, so is this Home Sweet Home? Yeah.
Yeah. So, relatively simple, but that was my take on the title.
Yep.
I don't have tons on writer and director. So writers were Corey Reed, who we've talked about before, so I didn't do any research on him. And then Kevin Diebolt, who we've actually talked about before and I didn't remember it. So he wrote The Tower and Bonds, Bonds, I'm not saying it very clearly, in 2019. He's written for Kevin Probably Saves the World. He's written for the series Copper and for the series Borgia.
Yeah, I really I need to try and get into Copper because that looked like a really good show.
And that's about a cop in like 18th century Britain, right? Or 19th century Britain.
Yeah, 1860s Irish American Civil War veteran
Ah,
joins New York
okay.
City Police Force.
Ooh, that actually sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So little time. So much less time. Okay, and then our director we have actually talked about before because he wrote one of our favorite episodes from last season, Ghosts.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That was the Carol Darrell centric episode.
Yes. And he actually has written 3 of the 6 10C episodes. We have talked about him before because he wrote for Queen of the South, which we've both said, oh yeah, we need to watch that. He wrote for The Mist, which the woman who played Lori, not Lori, the woman who played Andrea, Lori Holden, and then the guy who played Dale, why am I blanking on his name? Jeffrey DeMunn, were in The Mist, which was a Stephen King property. There we go for our crossover again.
Yep.
And he's also written for Longmire and Sleepy Hollow. Which I know that you've said your other half really likes Longmire. My other half really liked Sleepy Hollow. So,
and I watched the first season of Sleepy Hollow, and it was one of those where, it ended, and I was like, I think it was like, I don't know if it was a mid-season replacement or if it was one that like it took a really long time for them to greenlight season 2, something like that happened, and I was of the opinion where I was like, well, I don't know how they're gonna like keep this up, like I think it ended. So I never picked up on season 2, and it lasted quite a few seasons. So
it did. And, I believe Orlando Jones was in it, if I remember correctly.
I cannot remember. He probably wasn't in season 1.
I have to look now. Because I loved him so much in American Gods.
Right.
And, they actually messed up and lost him for season 3 of American Gods.
Yes.
I have only watched the first episode of season 3, but they really messed up and lost him. So
yeah, after losing Gillian Anderson, and like it was like, oh, that was a crushing blow, and they kind of like they saved it a little bit. I did not like the new guy, but losing Orlando Jones.
Yeah, he was in Sleepy Hollow the series, and he actually was in 31 episodes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so anyway, so Sleepy Hollow.
That probably takes us to our featured cast members.
So I have like one line about our featured cast member.
Okay, so our featured cast member, I chose him this episode just because I don't like kids, and I love little Glenn Herschel, I guess, but he's little Glenn.
He is little Glenn.
Keane Michael Spiller. Of course, this is his very first acting credit, so there's not much out there about him. And he is so young that he has no social media presence. So, like I said, we are making up time on this one because I don't even have an age for this kid.
Yeah, no, literally, I was like, okay, he's been in The Walking Dead. That's it. That's all. Yep. But he's adorable.
Angela King and, God, I want to call her Maggie.
Lauren Cohan,
both like just like they described him as like just spunky and like just a little character. I guess he's super fun to be with on set, and he's a great little actor. So he's kind of our new Judith.
Oh, except our Judith is still our Judith.
Yeah, but our Judith is becoming like, and I'm gonna swear, she's becoming a badass chick.
She's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, you had one thing to say about Keane.
Um, yeah, that he was in The Walking Dead. Literally, that's
So,
it.
I mean, what a way to start out your career. I mean, who is not going to remember Glenn's mini-me? Especially in that baseball cap.
We'll talk more about that.
Yes, we will. All right. So that was our featured cast member.
All right. So I don't have tons for Whisperer's Corner, but there was a video that was dropped for season 11 of Walking Dead, and I'm not even sure what it is. So it's basically like 5 seconds of an interrogation room, and that's it. And I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to have feels about that. I'm not really clear what The Walking Dead was trying to do there.
Yeah. I saw that too, and I now I forget what they titled it. It's kind of New World Order. Yeah, they titled it New World Order.
Which I'm pretty sure is a direct reference to the Commonwealth. I mean, it's been a while since I have read the comic books, but
I agree. That's the only thing that I would come up with that makes sense.
Next thing I have in Whisperer's Corner, and we've talked a little bit about this, but it is confirmed. Michael James Shaw has been cast as Mercer, who is a Commonwealth soldier who is a fairly big character in the last little bit of the comic book. He was in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. Mm-hmm. He was also in the Roots reboot, and he was in Constantine. So he will be an interesting addition to our cast.
Yeah, and you know, the Walking Dead on Twitter had done like a poll or a suggestion thing last year, and they did some fan mock-ups of like who would you like to see as Mercer, and the pick was The Rock, Dwayne Johnson.
He would have been a great Mercer.
Yeah, but you know, Michael James Shaw, like. Just looking at a picture of him side by side with the character, like it fits. It's perfect. It's great.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah.
Yep. So it sounds like the Maggie Negan conflict is going to get more mileage in season 11. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be resolved in this little extended version of season 10.
Yeah, so I heard that the Reapers were supposed to be a season 11 thing, and it sounds like they kind of flip-flopped their plan between they were going to deal with Negan for this and then Reapers next season, and so yeah, now they're dealing with the Reapers, so
I have feels about the Reapers. We'll talk a little bit more.
Okay.
So next episode, 10C2 or 18, depending on how you're counting. Apparently we get some Daryl backstory, how he finds Dog. And also there is going to be a new villain who is introduced. Her name is Leah. So, you know, I don't know exactly what will happen, but that is what we stand to get next episode.
So, did you watch Talking Dead?
No. Pardon me. There was a Talking Dead?
There was a Talking Dead. So, I watched Talking Dead. So I watched the 2 trailers for next episode. And I was like, I recognize that chick. And I think it was Leah that I recognized. Lynn Collins.
Doesn't ring a bell.
So I did recognize her, and she is blonde in The Walking Dead, but if you think you recognize her, imagine her as a brunette. She played Kayla Silverfox in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh.
Yeah. She was also in Manhunt, the TV series on Netflix. She was in True Blood. She was one of the she-wolves. Yeah, so imagine her as a brunette, and you'll know you've seen her before.
Huh.
So
Okay.
she's only credited in the one episode, so I don't know if that's just because they haven't, put the credits out there more, or like if she's a one and done.
Oh my god, my ridiculous dog. No, I think she's a one and done. I mean, I kind of got the feeling that it was like, you get the backstory of Dog, you get the backstory of Leah, bye.
Okay.
So.
Well, no offense to Lynn Collins, who I've liked her in everything that I've seen her so far, and she's, like me, she looks good as a brunette or a blonde. But I'm kind of more interested in Dog's background.
I look better as a blonde. All right, the last thing I have in Whisperer's Corner, and I think you probably have this too, is that Eric Kane did write an episode write an article for Forbes, rather. He called this episode Introducing Herschel Ree. He felt like overall the episode was strong, but he was not thrilled with the idea of the Reapers.
And see, Paul Tassi also wrote an article for Forbes. The Walking Dead unveils a terrifying new kind of enemy in season 10 premiere.
Gah.
And so he thought the Reapers were terrifying. And he said, The Walking Dead is always trying to top itself with its new villains, and I'd say they're off to a pretty solid start here.
I did not think so at all. I completely disagree.
We'll get into it.
Okay.
But I think it's so funny. Like, we started because of Eric Kane's snide remark about
nurses. Yes.
And here we are, like, probably 2-3 years later.
At least 2.
We still refer back to the Forbes guys.
It's kind of become an institution for us now, right?
Yeah, it's a thing. Yep. I definitely was like, I gotta find out what the Forbes guys said.
Right. So I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else for Whisperer's Corner?
Nope.
Okay, that takes us into our goods, bads, and uglies.
And it's your turn to start.
Okay, so my good is I really loved having Maggie back.
Yeah, I'm really glad they brought Lauren Cohan back.
I mean, I'm bummed for Lauren Cohan, the actress, that it means that the that her series didn't work out, but I'm happy to have her back.
Right. And I gotta tell you, I watched like 3.5 episodes and just was like, not for me. I'm not going to give it 0 stars because it's Lauren Cohan.
Oh, you're talking about Whiskey Cavalier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
watched the first one and I was like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah. And it wasn't anything against Lauren Cohan. It was the writing of the character. So, but that means we get her back on Walking Dead, and I'm all for that.
Yeah, no, it's good. So that was my good. It's relatively small. Well, it's not, it's like small in terms of length of time that it takes up our episode of Biters, but it's huge in terms of, we've got Maggie back.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Maggie comes Negan conflict and Baby Glenn.
Right.
Not so Baby Glenn. It's
right.
Little Herschel. I know. He's still Baby Glenn. So my good was actually very hyper specific to this episode because I was just so impressed with it. It's also kind of a small good, but it was the injured person trap. So you gut shot somebody, and that brings everybody else running to them, and you get to pick them off one by one. So instead of just shooting the chick in the head, as he obviously could because he was a really good sniper shot, he gut shotted her, so she called out for help. And Daryl instantly recognized the trap, and I was just like, oh my God, I would have totally walked into that. Like, my immediate response would have been to run to my friend's side, and that would have been the end for Marnell in the apocalypse. Yeah, I would have been Maya. I would have been shot. So I loved the use, and I mean it's an old trope. It's been used before, you know, and yeah, I was just so impressed that it caught me off guard, and I was like, whoa, I would have totally walked into that one. And yeah, so that was my super hyper specific good for the episode.
Well, then I will go into my bad.
Okay.
I need some backstory on Elijah. I'm totally not into the whole, like, Iron Mask, hyperventilating behind my mask, completely traumatized thing. I'm not into it. It didn't do anything for me. I need backstory.
Okay, yeah. Man
it
in an Iron
needs to
Mask,
make more sense to me.
heavy jacket, leather gloves, walking around with those size on his hip. Like, that has got to be excruciating in that heat.
Yeah. Georgia, ticks, heat. Yeah, not good. No bueno.
No. Nope. Yeah, we definitely need some backstory on Elijah and why he wears the mask.
Yeah, it needs to make sense, and right now it doesn't make sense, and because it doesn't make sense, it's not good.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, like, it looks cool, like his size and his
you know,
mask.
it looked cool, like, the first time that we saw him, but it kind of wore thin throughout this episode.
Yeah, and also to find out that, like, if he's asked, he will take off the mask.
Yes!
It's not like some, like, Buddhist vow of silence.
Right.
Where, you know,
no, I'm right there with you. I was like, huh. Okay, so basically all it took was Kelly saying, hey, could you please,
yeah.
Could you please, what?
So it's not a thing. Like, he's not horribly burned under the mask.
Right.
Like, yeah, so.
Yeah, backstory. Angela Kang, give us backstory.
Right there with you.
Okay, what was your bad?
We are just burning through this. We may make 10-15.
I'm not counting on it, but maybe.
So my bad is, and we have talked about this before, and maybe it is just me getting elderly, but it was too quiet. Like,
hard to hear.
Mumbling your lines. I kept having to rewind it when Daryl and Maggie were talking in the storage container, or in the container, because, like, I couldn't understand what she was saying.
I didn't feel like it was awful, but maybe it was because it didn't hold my attention as well as it should have through 2 watches for The Walking Dead Prime.
And I cannot remember who wrote the article that I read earlier that misquoted the Reaper at the end. They thought he said something in a foreign language, and they had to go back and revise their article and say, you know, in an earlier edition of this article, I thought blah, blah, blah. But really, he said, Pope marked you. And I'm right there with him. I was like, it did not sound like that.
Oh, really? I totally heard that, but...
Oh. Yeah, no. So, too quiet. We've talked about it being too dark before, but, you know, we've also talked about it being too quiet.
Get me my walker, Sonny.
I do have a brand new sound bar. We just bought it a couple of months ago because our old one went out. It was literally like 6:30 in the evening, and our Costco closes at 7, and our sound bar went out, and I was like, get in the truck. I've had too much to drink. You're driving.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Not living one more hour without a stupid sound bar. TV sound. Savage. messages.
You are hilarious.
So it is not that I have a sound bar that is like 5 years old and, you know, has seen better days. That one's gone. I have a new one. It's great. I don't know what brand it is, but it's something that Costco carries. So it is not my sound bar. It may just be I need my ears checked. I don't know. So too quiet. Too quiet. Very bad.
0 stars. Do not recommend.
No. So what was your ugly, and was it good or bad?
So my ugly, again, relatively small, but huge in terms of impact. And we've already kind of talked about it. Herschel. He was perfectly cast. He was delightful to look at. He was a tiny little Glenn. It made me so happy. And the moment when Daryl looks up and sees him, it's just wonderful.
See, and I couldn't take my eyes off Maggie, and just the way that she beams at him. It's adorable. Like, yeah. I love you, Kaylee Fleming. I love Judith, but I'm like, maybe he's gonna take over Carl's storyline.
Oh, so interesting that you should say that, because Herschel has a very separate and, in the end, conflicting storyline with Carl in the final episode or the final issue of the comic books. Yeah. What was that?
I don't remember.
You actually read it?
I may have skimmed the wiki. Cliff's notes.
Let's just say that as adults, they have conflicting interests in how to handle the remaining zombies in the apocalypse.
Well, I have a feeling that Herschel is going to be a fan fave. And, like, if anyone's going to get, you know, if anyone's deserving of a spinoff, it is the adventures of
Herschel and Judith.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe they'll replace Daryl and Carol with Herschel and Judith.
From your lips to God's ears.
All right. What was your ugly, and was it good or bad?
Again, I don't know. I think it was a bad. I think it was an ugly bad. Bad ugly. The Reaper at the end. So why would you reveal that you pulled the pin? Wouldn't you want to take them out with you?
Well, okay, and kind of going along with that, wouldn't you take them out with you whether you reveal the pin or not? That's pretty close quarters.
You gave them an opportunity to leap out of the way. You know, like, I think he just should have smiled and kaboom. Or as Trash Can Man would say, big boom de boom.
My life for you.
Oh. Yeah, so it was out of character for how bad that baddie was, you know? I'm just like, you could have taken out at least 2 people and probably severely injured 1 or 2 others. Like, if you would have just lunged at Maggie in that last second, you know, she's out of there. So I was just like, for a guy that totally brushed off being stabbed with a 10-inch knife and, like, has 2 arrows in him, one that he broke off, like, for like, Beta 2.0, I don't think I would have revealed that I pulled a pin out of a grenade. I think I would have pulled it and lunged at you and taken you with me. You know?
And you know, so this kind of gets us into rotting potpourri pretty easily. So when I hear the Reapers, I think of the Reavers in Firefly.
Me too.
Right?
Oh.
And I mean, the Reavers were merciless, and they're trying to make the Reapers as being big bads. And wouldn't they be merciless too?
I think so.
I don't think they're, so far I'm not scared.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like with everybody getting killed off, I was cracking up the first time I watched it. I was cracking up again today. I was like, Steve is so relieved that they are not keeping all those characters.
So, yes, my immediate thought is also the Reavers. And I actually have this line kind of memorized. So it's Zoe Washburn's character that says it, Gina Torres, who is on 911 Lone Star now. If you are a fan of hers, she's doing a great job replacing Liv Tyler. So the quote about the Reavers is somebody's like, what are Reavers? And she's like, they will rape you to death. They will eat your flesh and sew your skin into their clothes. And if you are very, very lucky, they will do it in that order. That is just bone chilling.
Right? And that is who these characters should have been if they were going to be that scary.
Yes. Yes. Agreed. So it makes no sense that, like, he didn't take out as many people as possible with that grenade. So, yeah, I also think Reavers. Reapers is kind of a common name for, like, you know, bad guy squads. But, yeah, I immediately think Reavers also. I don't have a lot written down about this episode, but one of the first things that I wrote down was lots of walking. Like, that was almost my
God, I'm so glad you wrote that down, because it was like, okay, the little traipsing through the forest, I didn't need that. And the, like, locking the walkers up in the trailer cars or the, you know, the storage cars, I didn't need that.
Yeah, I mean, the like 45 minutes it took us to figure out that the sun only had 30 minutes left. I was just like, no, we're done. Like, I get it. You are on a long trek through the woods. Maggie's driven, and she's even more driven now because the whole, like, thing with Negan ticked her off. So, like, she's just, you know, gonna trudge her anger out. But I was just like, you know, you could have cut like probably 15 minutes out of this episode with just walking. Like, they weren't even talking most of the time.
You know, and I honestly think with as good as The Walking Dead has been over the last 2 years, because let's face it, seasons 9 and 10 have been kind of a rebirth for this series. It was disappointing to have this not be that good.
Yeah, and so
to have there be lots of walking, we're walking.
that is really what dragged down my rating for this episode. I would have rated it higher than 3.5 if we would have just, like, even if we'd have had dialogue, we could have gotten, you know, the backstory of the Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So I also felt like the Maggie Negan conflict was really hyped, and then it basically was Maggie glaring at him and Negan saying, well, shiz. You know, really?
So apparently, and I can't remember where I read it. I'm sorry, it might have been on Insider. But there was actually a dialogue that was filmed between Maggie and Negan that was cut because they thought that just that initial kind of awkward shock that they were both in conveyed enough that they decided to cut out all of the dialogue scene. So apparently that was meant to be a longer conflict. But yeah.
That's kind of disappointing. They could have cut out some walking and given us more with Negan and Maggie.
Right? That's probably where the time went. Oh my God. They were like, oh crap, we got 15 minutes to film now.
We better make them walk.
It reminded me of the episode that I think that it's the episode where Andrea meets. No, is it the episode she dies? The episode she meets Michonne. Anyway, they
It's
made her run through the
it's
woods
the
for like.
episode where she meets Michonne, and then they reprised it when they were doing like Michonne's flashbacks
Yeah.
when
So they
she
made
had
her
her final
run through the
episode.
woods for like 3 hours at like a full run. I was like, oh my God, you could have shot that in 20 minutes. I'd have been like, I'm calling my union.
Well, if it's the union that got Ezra Miller his job as trash can man, it's a trash union. It's no good. No bueno.
But man, you're right. Like, I didn't even think about that. All the ticks. Bleh.
Yeah.
Get me out of these dead leaves. So running instead of walking, when the sniper was taking shots at him and they were running, what do we do when we are running away from somebody shooting at us, kids? You run in a zigzag pattern. Don't run straight. Like, I am not great at hitting a moving target, but this guy is. So, like, you need to break it up a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the sniper thing too.
Okay.
How do the Reavers still have bullets left? Maggie's carrying a longbow. We have other characters carrying spears, and the Reavers still have bullets.
Yeah. So I wonder if the Reavers have something to do with, because it kind of sounded like Maggie's group and Georgie were kind of splitting off. It kind of makes me wonder if I think we both just said Reavers. If the Reapers.
We did.
We did.
It's 10:01 and we're now misgendering the
bad
baddos.
So maybe they are like Commonwealth soldiers that, went crazy or like decided they wanted to be in charge. It was going to be a military coup or like, so maybe like the Commonwealth had this huge cache of, because you can, if you can make gunpowder and you have the casings and the other equipment, you can reload bullets. I mean, it's a thing. We've had bullets for 100+ years now, so they were making them before they were mass produced. So I guess, but that would be interesting if maybe these are former Commonwealth soldiers that split off and became the Reapers. I also meant to Google the shelf life of hand grenades. And that may be one.
Oh, good one.
That may be one I should probably go to DuckDuckGo on. Probably on enough lists.
I use DuckDuckGo for a lot of stuff. It's generally not Googling hand grenades, but yeah.
So it did not autocomplete. It wanted to direct me to the shelf life of hand lotion. Okay, so some hand grenades, I'm not going to go through them all because there are various kinds.
Brian, where are you?
Some hand grenades have a shelf life of 15 years. So still having working hand grenades, believable.
Possible. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay.
Bullets, no. Working hand grenades, yes.
Again, you could have a cache of weapons somewhere. I mean, there are enough people who are major collectors of guns and they stockpile ammunition that there are, I mean, it's like a video game out there. Once 90% of us are gone, it is basically just like, raiding houses and finding, food and energy drinks and guns and ammo and Yeah. So I, I think it's believable as long as they can explain it in some way that, like, they're former Commonwealth guards.
Bold prediction.
Maybe. So if we want to be making bold predictions, Maggie offhandedly made the remark that Georgie heard that there was a settlement out west and went there. Is it one of
Oh.
Ginny's?
Well, I was going to say, will we see her in Fear?
I'm I'm
Ugh.
not gonna rule it out, you know? That could be a crossover.
Oh, God.
Another bold prediction. Uh, Negan redeems himself at the end. I don't know if it's the end of season 10 or at the end of the series. Negan will redeem himself by, I don't like, taking a bullet for Herschel. Like jumping on a hand grenade for Herschel. Like,
Oh,
he's
I
gonna
like
sacrifice.
that.
Yep, he's gonna sacrifice himself to save Herschel.
I
And
like
then
that big time.
Maggie's gonna have all kinds of feelings about the man who bashed in her husband's brains saving her kid. Like,
Oh, that's good. Angela Kang, call us.
right?
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's the only way. Like, Negan has to die. Like, I think I think Negan has, like, that storyline has to come to an end. We can revisit Negan's storyline, like, in a flashback or prequel or something like that.
Smalls is like, it is 10:06.
Wrap it up, ladies. But I think the only great way for him to go is by sacrificing himself for Herschel.
I very much like that.
It redeems him almost completely for killing Glenn.
I don't know that we'll ever completely forgive him for killing Glenn and Abe, but yes, I would agree that that's going to make Maggie have all the feels.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of all the feels, so Maggie, Kelly, and Elijah all lost their sisters.
Aww.
What? Although we're pretty sure Connie's coming back.
Yeah, I was gonna say Kelly hasn't quite lost. It's not a Heath situation yet. Just saying.
Hashtag where's Heath?
He's in Fear the Walking Dead.
He's fine. He's in Texas. It's all fine.
So the song that they played at the end.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you for going there.
Yes.
No, horrible. No bueno.
No.
Horrible. All right. You know I am a diehard Leonard Cohen fan.
Oh, no.
You know I am a huge Leonard Cohen purist. The only person who gets to remake a Leonard Cohen song is Rufus Wainwright. His version of Hallelujah. Thank you very much.
I did not realize this was a Leonard Cohen song.
So Leonard Cohen did an album right before he died in 2016 called You Want It Darker. This song is You Want It Darker. It's the title song from the album. The Leonard Cohen version is amazing. This is awful.
Okay,
Awful.
I now have to seek out the original because I liked this.
I will get on Facebook and YouTube right now and post it to Biters because I was super excited because I read last week that they were going to use it, but that they were using a cover, which, you know, it made sense to me that they couldn't get the rights to the Leonard Cohen one. But when I heard the version, when I watched this for the first time last night, I was like, oh, no. This is so not. And yeah, I was super disappointed.
We have been on the same page all night, and this is where we diverge. Like,
In fairness, you're not the ginormous Leonard Cohen fan that I am, so you may be like, I don't get it.
well, and
But I
having
have
never
Leonard
heard the
Cohen's
original,
words tattooed on my arm.
having never heard the original, maybe the original will just blow my mind.
So the whole album, You Want It Darker, blows my mind.
Okay.
Okay, I'm putting it on Biters right now.
So I'm glad I brought it up.
I'm so glad. It was in my notes, but it might have been one of those things where I was like, I was going to say that and I forgot to say it.
So did you notice the title card changed this episode?
No.
The opening credits. When we flash on The Walking Dead at the end of the beginning credits, last season we left it where it looked like it was kind of on fire. And this season we rejoin it and it's still moss covered, but it's got blood running down it.
No, I completely missed that. Good eye.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always looking for differences in the title card. And so far, that's the only thing that they've changed. I really expected them to have added the burned out windmill, but they kept the windmill whole. So, yeah. Because, they've made little tiny additions over time. When we had the heads on pikes, they added those. So, always on the lookout for the credits to change.
I will have to be more attentive. I watched it twice and I totally did not notice that.
It's one of the things that I loved that they did with Fear the Walking Dead is having the opening credits change with the episode and kind of represent what we were going to see. I think that's been clever, and I kind of wish Walking Dead Prime had done that a little bit. And they seem to do it, but it's in very minor increments over long periods of time. Like we had the addition of Rick pointing the gun on the bridge, and then I think like 2 episodes later or something, it was finally like, the bridge blows up and, so it's just been so minor that it's hard to spot.
Girl, okay, I was going to say, I don't think I have anything else. It sounds like you might have a little bit more.
So you were saying that all 3 of those characters had lost their sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an interview done with Angela Kang, and she said something that, like, it's been in the back of my mind, but, Maggie has lost her entire family one at a time. Everyone. The only one she has left is Herschel.
And so stuff has been playing across Thomas O'Mara's feed this past week, and I think this might be the anniversary of when we lost Beth. And it was super hard to see all of that, right, which is so ridiculous that I'm still so stricken by the loss of a fictional character.
I'm still butthurt over the spoiler.
Yeah, no, the spoiler was awful. But
yeah,
really, honestly, I got really enmeshed in Beth when she and Daryl had their whole, little arc by themselves. And it was super, super, super hard to lose her.
Well, and I just loved her whole arc in the hospital.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
She was really starting to blossom as a character at that point, and it was just so abruptly cut short for, and I want to say no good reason. Don't get me wrong. It was very well done. I liked that it was basically an accident. But it was just so unforeseen and so abrupt. And it was like they were giving her back and Maggie is right there. And we didn't get closure. And it is an open wound that will continue to fester for all of us. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't feel like we talked a whole lot about this episode, but like I said,
Well,
I had only,
it wasn't great.
yeah, I 10C. It's very weird to have a season last a year and a half and to be broken up into 3 parts. Like,
Well, COVID ruins everything.
it does, but I almost, well, and they've also what they did to us later last year in doing the consecutive, we're going to show 2 Walking Dead properties at the same time and then give you 3 months with nothing.
Right.
Suck it. So it's all been very herky jerky, and with the whole addition of now I pay for AMC Plus. So we could have actually done this a week ago because I think you get the episodes early too.
Yes.
You pay for AMC Plus?
Yes,
Yeah.
We could have done it last week.
Yeah. And so I didn't realize that we were still paying for that on our Sling membership, but apparently we are. So between the herky jerky Walking Dead universe and kind of having to pay for an extra AMC Plus to get the Talking Dead sometimes. I don't know if the Talking Dead is on regular AMC anymore. But it's been weird. Hasn't been bad.
Yeah.
It's just been weird. Like, I feel like they could have just been like, you know what? This is season 11, and we're going to have, a 3-month break between season 11A and season 11B. Because season 11 is actually going to be truncated, isn't it? It's going to
No, 11 is going to be 24 episodes, so it's actually going to be huge.
Okay, well, they could have done a season 12. Like, I feel like the spacing is all wrong.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a few other things I could go on about, but yeah, we do 3 podcasts a week now. So I watch like 6 hours of television.
We really only do like 2, sometimes 3.
We usually watch a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
We watched The Stand. We watched The Walking Dead. I watched Talking Dead, and I did all of this twice.
I did all of it twice too, and I had a very busy day, so there.
And it is 10:17, so we are kind of ending.
Pretty good.
We did. Yeah, so I mean, now everybody knows that we really can get an episode done in 35 minutes instead of 2 hours. Shh, don't tell.
Too funny.
All right. So, do you have any last things to add?
I don't. I think that we have thoroughly talked out The Stand and The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I think so. I'm starving. My dog ate my pot roast. So I gotta go rustle up some food.
Oh, how funny.
So, everyone, just remember,
take it one dead day at a time.
Have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Bye.